She walked into Real Housewives of Beverly Hills as the fun, quirky, lovable best friend, the Chucky actress with a WSOP bracelet and a breezy giggle. But scratch the surface, and what you find is a woman who has spent 20 years at high-stakes poker tables, knows exactly how to read a room, and plays the game accordingly. This is the Jennifer Tilly most people miss. There is something uniquely interesting about adding a professional poker player to a reality television cast. Poker at its highest levels is not really a card game. It is a game of information management. Who knows what, when they know it, what they reveal about themselves, and how they use what they observe about everyone else. The very best poker players in the world are experts at presenting a face that does not match what is happening underneath it. And they have spent years training themselves to be unreadable, to appear warm when they are calculating, to appear confident when they are uncertain, to appear uncertain when they are completely sure. Jennifer Tilly has been playing high-stakes poker professionally since 2005. She won a World Series of Poker bracelet that year, beating over 600 competitors. She has accumulated more than $1 million in tournament winnings. She knows how to bluff. She knows how to read tells. She knows that the most dangerous players at any table are the ones who look the least dangerous. She walked into Real Housewives of Beverly Hills in season 14 as the fun, eccentric best friend of Sutton's, the Oscar-nominated actress, best known for voicing Tiffany in the Chucky franchise, famous for her distinctive breathy voice, her wild fashion, and her ability to make a room laugh. She was an instant fan favorite. She seemed like the refreshing personality the show had been missing. She was funny, self-deprecating, genuinely interesting, and appeared to have no agenda whatsoever. The question worth asking, given who Jennifer Tilly actually is how much of that was real and how much of it was the table face. Understanding Jennifer Tilly requires understanding the life she built before Bravo ever called. She was born Jennifer Ellen Chan in Harbor City, Los Angeles in 1958, the daughter of a used car salesman father who was a gambler and poker player, and a Canadian mother who was a school teacher and former stage actress. Her parents divorced when she was 5. She and her siblings were largely raised by her mother and stepfather on Texada Island in rural British Columbia. And she has described her childhood as one that gave her reasons not to want to replicate it, specifically in the choice not to have children. "I could see myself making those mistakes," she said on one episode, referring to her mother's parenting, "and I didn't want to put my kids through that." She studied theater at Stevens College in Missouri, moved to Hollywood, and spent the better part of the 1980s picking up guest roles on shows like Hill Street Blues and Cheers before her feature film career began to take shape. In 1994, she received an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress for Bullets over Broadway. 2 years later, she played Violet in Bound, the Wachowski sisters' noir crime thriller in which she gave a genuinely acclaimed performance. Then came Bride of Chucky in 1998, and with it, the pop culture immortality that has followed her ever since. She married Sam Simon in 1984, the co-creator and producer of The Simpsons, and divorced him in 1991 after 7 years together. The settlement included a percentage of The Simpsons' earnings, which she has spoken about on RHOBH with barely concealed delight. "When we got divorced, I got a piece of The Simpsons in the divorce settlement, and nobody knew that The Simpsons was going to go on for trillions of years," she revealed in season 14. "Every day I'm like, thank you, Sam." She receives at least 25% of income from each episode as part of the settlement, which has continued to compound for over 3 decades. She and Sam remained close after the divorce. She cared for him during his battle with terminal colon cancer and was at his side until his death in 2015. He was probably my best friend for 30 years, she said. That specific detail is worth sitting with. The woman who left the marriage stayed for the person. That tells you something about how Jennifer Tilly operates in relationships. She is loyal in a way, but on her own terms and her own timeline. In 2004, she met professional poker player Phil Locke. known in poker circles as the Unabomber for his signature hoodie and sunglasses, at the World Poker Tour Invitational in Los Angeles. He won the tournament that day. She walked up and asked him to teach her to play like him. They have been together for over 20 years and remain unmarried. Phil shuffles around in pajamas talking about cryptocurrency, by her description. She calls him the best. They are in the world of high-stakes gambling, something close to poker royalty. By 2005, she had won her WSOP bracelet, earned the nickname the Unabombshell, and become the first celebrity to win a major poker tournament against professional competition. She has since made clear that the celebrity angle was always a slight annoyance to her. She wanted to be taken seriously as a player, not as a famous face at a novelty table. Gambling is an addiction after all, she wrote in her retirement column from competitive poker in 2008. She came back to the game. Of course she did. People with a true relationship to gambling always do. What makes Jennifer Tilly's RHOBH presence worth examining closely is this. She did not join the show the way most friends of join. She did not need the exposure. She did not need the paycheck. She is worth an estimated $40 million, earns Simpsons residuals that have compounded for 30 years, and had a film career that gave her genuine cultural significance. She joined because Sutton Strachey, her best friend of over a decade, was on the show and wanted her there. That distinction matters. When you join a poker game because you love the game and have the skills to back it up, you play differently than someone who needs to be there. Jennifer Tilly knew she could walk away from RHOBH at any point. That freedom is its own kind of power, and it shaped how she moved through the cast from the moment she arrived. In season 14, she was largely charming and untouchable. She observed, she laughed. She dressed in extraordinary outfits that became their own conversation. She did not wade too deeply into any conflict. She was watching the table, understanding the players, learning how they moved and what their tells were. Yet then came season 15. During the cast trip to Sedona in season 15, the women gathered for a dinner that became one of the more revealing moments of the season. The conversation had turned to Sutton Strachey's mysterious falling out with her former assistant, Avi Gebahay, a subject that carried real emotional weight for Sutton, and one that the other women kept circling back to, probing for information Sutton was clearly uncomfortable sharing. When Jennifer Tilly tried to interject, ostensibly to change the subject or diffuse the tension, Sutton cut her off with a sharp, "Please stop. Just stop." Jennifer said nothing more at the table. She acknowledged that there was probably nothing great she could say in that moment, and went quiet. By the standards of reality television confrontation, it was a minor moment. Yea, by the standards of what happened next, it was the spark that started a fire. Jennifer stepped away from the dinner to cool off. While outside, Kyle Richards approached her. And Jennifer, an Oscar-nominated actress who has played femme fatale, a World Series of Poker champion who has sat across from the best bluffers in the world, chose at this moment to open up to Kyle Richards on a reality television show with cameras rolling. She told Kyle that Sutton had snapped at her and hurt her feelings, and then she went further. She said something about Garcelle Beauvais, the cast member who had departed RHOBH at the end of season 14 after a bruising reunion. Specifically that she believed Sutton's behavior was part of the reason Garcelle had left the show. "I do believe that's one of the reasons why Garcelle left," she said. Because it's always all about Sutton. It's not about anybody else. It's just too much." Kyle, being Kyle, relayed this information directly to Sutton. When Sutton confronted Jennifer about it on the after show, she said, "You said that I always caused the problems and that this was why Garcelle didn't want to be my friend." Jennifer's response was revealing. She said, "If I said something like that, which I don't think I did, I wasn't saying it to be hurtful." She later called it a rookie mistake, her framing, not a critic's. I opened up to my fellow housewife because I felt hurt. I felt understood," she explained in an interview. And of course, when you're talking to a girlfriend, you don't expect it to get back to the other girlfriend, except for, "Hello? This is Housewives. There is a camera." Well, why do I think that I'm going to be exempt from the housewives' rule that everything is on the table? That description, a rookie mistake, choosing to open up, does not quite capture what actually happened. Jennifer Tilly has been a professional poker player for 2 decades. She knows what a camera is. She knows that everything said in that environment is recorded and will be used. She knows what it means to vent to someone who is also being filmed about a friend in a way that will almost certainly make it back to that friend. She knows these things the way she knows poker hand rankings. They are not new information. The rookie mistake framing was, in itself, a kind of play. It positioned the Garcelle comment as an accident of vulnerability rather than a strategic choice. It let Jennifer maintain the persona of the fun, a well-meaning friend who occasionally says the wrong thing rather than the calculating observer who knew exactly what she was doing and did it anyway. What she actually did, and what the cameras documented, was use the cover of being hurt by Sutton to deliver a pointed characterization of Sutton to another cast member. She described Sutton as someone who makes everything about herself, whose behavior drives away the people around her, and who had effectively chased Garcelle off the show. These are not throwaway comments. More, they are a characterization of someone's fundamental personality delivered on camera to their mutual acquaintance under the guise of venting. Sutton, confronting her later, made the specific complaint that bringing Garcelle into it was the thing that hurt most, because Garcelle leaving had been painful for Sutton. And Jennifer had taken that exact wound and used it as the sharpest point of her commentary. What is interesting about Jennifer Tilly's position on RHOBH is the gap between how the audience perceives her and how her castmates apparently do. In season 14, reports emerged that most of the cast could not stand her. An insider told Life and Style that Jennifer is the least popular of the group, and the ladies can't stand her and have been giving her the cold shoulder except Sutton, who's been her friend for over a decade, and people wonder why. That insider framing, the cast resenting her, wondering why Sutton stays loyal to someone like this, raises a question that the show itself rarely addresses directly. What is it that the other women see that the audience does not? The audience sees the funny outfits, the poker anecdotes, the charming relationship with Phil Locke, the Chucky references, the breezy confidence. The cast sees something else. They see someone who joined the show as a friend of. Someone with no diamond, no real stake in the franchise, no contractual reason to be there, who nonetheless manages to involve herself in the most sensitive dynamics of every season. Someone who appears to observe more than she contributes, and then contributes most sharply when it benefits her positioning. In poker terms, the player who says the least often has the most information, and when they finally bet, they bet with precision. By the season 15 reunion, Jennifer was seated next to Sutton and across from the majority of the drama that had defined the season. She was, according to multiple accounts, seemingly in the clear at the reunion. Meaning she had successfully navigated an entire season of personal conflict without being caught in the crossfire that destroyed other relationships. By March 2026, Jennifer appeared on Watch What Happens Live and provided an update on her friendship with Garcelle. She said she had reached out to Garcelle multiple times after the season 14 reunion, that they had scheduled lunches and dinners that Garcelle kept canceling, and that after the third cancellation, she decided to let it go. After the third time, I thought, she wants to move on. Let her have her peace, Jennifer said. The framing again was gracious, the actress playing the patient friend who kept trying, who eventually accepted the situation. What the framing did not address is what role Jennifer's specific comment, the one delivered to Kyle in Sedona, the one that attributed Garcelle's departure from the show to Sutton's behavior, might have played in any lingering awkwardness between Jennifer and Garcelle. Jennifer blamed Sutton for Garcelle leaving. Did Garcelle ever hear about that? Did it matter to her? These are questions the show did not fully explore and Jennifer did not directly address. The most interesting thing about Jennifer Tilly's RHOBH presence is not any single moment of drama. It is the consistency of her approach across 2 seasons. She arrives charming and entertaining. She observes with great precision. She chooses her moments carefully. When she speaks, neither words are always wrapped in enough warmth and self-deprecation that they are difficult to directly confront. When she is confronted, hence she expresses genuine-seeming surprise at the characterization and offers context that reframes her as the victim of her own good intentions. She called it a rookie mistake. But Jennifer Tilly is not a rookie at anything she puts her mind to. She is a woman who beat 600 people at a World Series of Poker tournament in her first serious year of competitive play, who has spent 20 years at high-stakes tables with professional gamblers who have dedicated their entire lives to reading human behavior and concealing their own, who has played roles on screen that required her to be simultaneously seductive and deadly, charming and dangerous, funny and ruthless. And the idea that she stumbled accidentally into any of the situations she found herself in on RHOBH, that the Garcelle comment was a lapse, that she was simply too trusting of Kyle Richards in a camera-filled environment, that she is too new to the game to know its rules, requires ignoring everything she has told the world about who she actually is. "I'm not giving up poker entirely," she wrote when she announced her first retirement from competitive play. Gambling is an addiction after all. Watching Jennifer Tilly on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, it is clear the game never stopped. The table just got a lot more interesting. She came in as the lovable best friend and left season 15 without a mark on her. Meanwhile, everyone else went to war. A World Series of Poker bracelet winner on a reality show about wealthy women was always going to know exactly what she was doing. Subscribe for more.